March 24th, and we're looking at Storm Virgil coming through. They're expecting 4 to 6 inches of snow here, so what we did was we backed the RV a little further in. When I come over here, you can see nice awning over the top, so most of the precipitation will just be on the front of the vehicle. Skirted the entire outside of the vehicle. We've got some extra insulation bundles. We put some underneath, and we tried to make as much of an airtight seal. Looks a little janky, but you know, little pieces of styrofoam that came from the side of the vehicle. Just wanted to try to make sure that we keep it nice and sealed up, because we're going to be working in this garage, so we don't want a big open hole. Okay, just an update here for the vehicle. Got our subfloor in here, got our 3/4 inch plywood all in place, and then we've got the framing for the bed. Nice strong sturdy posts here. Some of them are doubled up with the supports underneath, and some of them are singled, so that'll be fun. Decided I'm going to go with some Reflectix and create a bit of a radiant barrier around the outside of the vehicle. So down here you can see the first piece is already in place, and then I'm actually going to cover this flooring with the same material. Update for the shower area, same thing. Decided to go with Reflectix. Wanted to put this barrier down here on the floor. So I've got, here's my water lines with the heat tape running in between. I've covered those nicely. And then I've got the heat tape. You can see, it might be difficult to see here, but it comes out and just does one loop around the low part of the drainage pipe. So that'll help give a little bit of heat here in the extreme cold weather. And then down here I've also lined this, including the sides here, 2-inch sides, with Reflectix. So hopefully this will help create a nice heat barrier, radiant barrier, so that when this part of the vehicle has some warmth to it, the warmth will stay in this part of the vehicle and won't escape down through. It's below the piping, so it'll keep the, hopefully it'll keep the pipes warm enough just to, you know, prevent any major problems. Alright, last update for the day. Got Reflectix underneath the entire bed area and over in the shower area as well. But this is going to create a nice radiant barrier on the floor, so hopefully we won't lose any heat in that direction. And what we're going to do, one more thing, is over here in the corner, we're going to create another kind of layer of it, so to speak, to create a nice air barrier down on this part of the wall. So that'll give us a little more insulation towards the back of the vehicle. This is the furthest point away from any heating source. I've got the furnace over, you know, in the kitchen area. Obviously, if the vehicle's running, you know, the vents from the engine area. And then I have a little space heater that hangs here. But if I'm boondocking, that space heater's not going to be available because it draws 1,500 watts. So this is essentially the furthest point away from heat sources. So I'm really trying to insulate the back of the vehicle really well, because this is where I sleep. So updates to follow. Okay, just a brief update on the roof situation. I've started taking off some of the components of the roof, and upon further review, this piece actually, I don't know if you can just see this square piece kind of outlined right here. It seems that this was that tarp-like substance that was done as a patch job at some point. I don't know how long it held for, but one of the things that it did was underneath, it turned the rubber roof surface into just bits and pieces here. And I've heard from a couple of reputable sources that, for example, if you are to use some kind of petroleum-based coating on an EPDM roof, then what it does is it kind of creates, you know, another layer of the lasagna, and unfortunately water can get trapped in between those layers, which means it then sits there and just does a constant and slow damage to the structures underneath. So as you can see, this wood has been, you know, pretty rotted out considerably. I can even just start pulling apart pieces with my fingers. So this is obviously going to have to come out. I'm going to have to replace it. It looks like this is the old rubber surface. It's looks like we've got some mold and some mildew. I'm probably going to have to go get some protective gloves, wash my hands thoroughly, and just rip it all out carefully. So that's just an update of that. One more update is that these are the kind of tools that I've been using. Just a typical putty scraper, and actually that's been a lot of labor-intensive work, and I've discovered that this handy-dandy device, which is made by Rockwell, basically just creates a little bit of an oscillation back and forth. So, for example, you can see this little bit of butyl tape here, and it just peels it up nicely. So it's not your complete magic answer, but it does cut down on the labor intensity of the job of scraping everything off. So I will see how far back it goes. I do have a seam right over here. I don't know if you can make it out on the camera, but I'm curious as to find if I only have to repair this back portion, although judging from the side, the rust on the staples and such, and the looks of the wood in here, I'm sure that the damage is going to extend further beyond. So more updates to follow.